Sixth graders, our lesson today is dividing numbers that have decimal points in them. So dividing this number, the dividend, by a divisor. And notice that the divisor is a whole number, but the dividend has a decimal point in it. Okay? So, how do we do this? Well, the divisor, anytime you're dividing, the divisor needs to be a whole number when you're dividing it out on just on paper. So whenever you're doing a problem like this, make sure that the divisor is a whole number. If it's not a whole number, then I'll show you in a later lesson how to convert it to a whole number. Then look up here. First, set up the problem carefully and put the first number, which is the dividend, inside the house, inside of the division sign. Okay? So if I were rewriting this problem, I would write this as 3.78 divided by oh, the computers. No, it's just thinking. Thinking. 3.78 divided by 6.
It worked.
The divisor goes on the outside. Okay? The first number always goes inside the house. No matter what the number is, if it's bigger or smaller, that doesn't matter. The first number, the dividend, always goes inside the house. Okay? Now, once we've had the problem set up and you know where the decimal point is in the number, then you put the decimal point right up into the answer right away. Okay? And you move that straight up above the line. Then once you do that, you divide this out and ignore the decimal point. So now you treat these digits like numbers without the decimal point. You just ignore where that decimal point is, which means that you treat this as just 37. And how many times would 6 go into 37? Keep on. 6 times. The 6 goes above the 7. 6 times 6 is 36. And we divide this out ignoring the decimal point. Okay? So would we do a 3.7 minus 36 or just 37 minus 36? Sam?
We would do 37 minus 36.
Yes, 37 minus 36. So ignoring the decimal point, right? And that's remainder 1. Bring down the 8. 6 goes into 18. 3 times. Then what, Ben?
Then you divide 18 by 6.
We already did that.
What?
Are you following along? Can we do 3 times 6?
Oh, 3 times 6, yeah.
Is
That's 18.
right. And remainder? 0. So what is the answer? What is the answer then?
0.76.
Yep. 0.63 or 63. The 0 has to go to the left of the decimal point to show that there are 0 ones.
But if we put nothing.
Now, one of the ways to remember that is to do 6. Does 6 go into 3? Nope, it goes in 0 times. Doesn't fit. Then 6 into 37. Okay? Now, if it helps you, once you put the decimal point up into the answer, you could just erase the decimal point in the dividend when you divide. But just remember, when you're subtracting, to ignore the decimal point. Okay? Let's do another one. Go to your book. Page 60. Let's see. Turn to page 62. Let's start doing some dividing. First of all, number 7. It says estimate and then find the quotient. So we're starting with 22.8 divided by 6. What would this be approximately? Well, we have to think about where compatible numbers. What's a close number that 6 would go into? Well, what I mean is, what's close to 22 that 6 would go into? 24, right. So if this was 24, 6 would go into 24 how many times? 4 times. So that's how you're going to estimate. Is think about how many times would the divisor go into a number that's close to the dividend. Okay? That's called finding a compatible number. Then, once you do that, then set up the problem. So, 22.8, and why don't you write this down, because this is part of your assignment. So this is the first one of your assignment. 22.8 divided by 6. Then what should we do? The next step. What's the next step right away? Arthur? Wait, before we do that, what do you need to do? Before you start dividing, right, put the decimal point up into the answer. Okay? That's the first thing you should do. Then start dividing. Go ahead. So 6 would go into 22 3 times. Then multiply. 3 times 6 is 18. Subtract. 22 minus 18 is 4. Ignore the decimal point. Remember, when we're dividing, we ignore the decimal point. So we treat this like 48. 6 goes into 48. Rachel? 8 times. 8 times 6 is 48. And so rewrite the answer and circle it. Do you have to rewrite the answer? Yes, you do. Rewrite it next to it. Okay? Any questions on that? Then, once you've done this, then you go on to the next question. So that your homework looks like this. Number 7, all of the work, the estimate, and the answer. Then you go on to number 8. You do all of the work. Then write the answer. Okay? So number 8 is written differently. That one already has $17.15 as the dividend. And 7 is the divisor. So, when you're estimating, this is that squiggly equal sign, which means approximately. What would 7 go into that's close to 17? Shania? 14. 7 goes into 14 how many times? 2 times. So we should get an answer of about 2. Okay? Then, move the decimal point up and divide. Okay? Any questions on these? The estimate, you have to think, what does 7 go into? So if you add 7, 14, 21, what number is closest to 17? 14. And 7 goes into 14 2 times.
What
So
about
that's how you get the
21?
estimate. Well, 17 is
Closer to 20.
3 away from 14.
And it's 3 away from,
It's 4 away from 21.
So 4.
So 14 is a little closer.
Wait, can I get a remainder?
Yeah, what if you get a remainder?
So I got a remainder on number 8.
I didn't get a ring.
Number 8?
3.
Well, 7 would go into 14 2 times, so that goes above the 7. Then we get 3, bring down the 1. 7 goes into 31.
4
How many
times.
4 times? 4 times 7 is 28. Remainder 3, bring down the 5. 7 goes into 35. 5 times. So I didn't get a remainder in that one. But what if you did get a remainder? You know what you would do?
You just round it up to the base.
No, you don't round. You put a 0 there. Now, if you do this and you keep dividing, you'll only have to do 2 zeros. If you go beyond 2 zeros, you may have made a mistake somewhere else, or you can just stop and check it with a calculator and see where you can find your mistake. But if you do that in your homework, I need to see the rest of your work. Otherwise, I'm going to think, oh, they just used the calculator, and then I'm going to make you redo it. Okay? So if you do this, and you have your work there, then you can check it with a calculator to see if you did it correctly. Especially if you're adding a 0 and another 0 and another 0, then you can use a calculator to see if you can find your mistake. Okay? Any questions? All right. Your assignment is 7 through 11. And then 18 through 22.
Yay!
Okay?
Wait, can I say something?
Wait, so 7 through